Hello and welcome to my postcard from the past. My name is Izzy and I'm currently doing my PhD in Paleolithic art. So you might have already guessed this postcard is a little different, and I'll be taking you around a virtual reality environment that you're seeing here, which shows some Paleolithic art from a cave in northern Spain called El Castillo. So this gives a new perspective to the art and is a really useful tool for my research, particularly during the pandemic when international travel has been restricted. So all of the art I'll show you dates to approximately between 20,000 and 15,000 years ago, but cave art is very difficult to date because we don't have the same context like artifacts or layers of sediment that you find on excavations. So this first wall we're looking at now has been dated using radiocarbon. You might be able to make out a bison just here that's facing right and has been depicted using quite faint black lines. This dates to around 16,000 years ago. And just here on this small rock outcrop we have another bison facing left, which dates to around 13,500 years ago. So this wall may have been revisited and depicted on thousands of years after the first drawing. Now up here we have a large bison head facing downwards, depicted in red. And you might be seeing a theme to the animals here. Over to the left here we have two small female deer depicted, which underlie quite a large black bison. They're quite degraded, so it's difficult to make out. And this large black bison has its legs sort of tucked underneath it. So part of my PhD research is interested in how the natural surface has been used to bring out features in the arts. So as I move my torch here, you might be able to notice that natural cracks and undulations have been used to give the depictions a sense of depth and dimension. So the next wall we'll look at is tucked in an enclosed space in the real cave, and I've tried to recreate that here. So we're squeezing through a small area to get to this wall. And this only has a few small depictions. So up here we have a small horse head, which I think has been inspired by the shape of the natural rock here. And underneath it we have just the back, the dorsal line of an auroch and its two horns to the left. And at the bottom we have two quite faint depictions. One likely either an auroch or maybe a reindeer if you interpret the natural cracks as part of the depiction. And then above it the triangular head of a female deer again. So these quite small, incomplete depictions on this wall are perhaps more characteristic of Upper Paleolithic or Ice Age art than those sort of quite famous, large, detailed depictions of animals you might envisage from caves like Lascaux. Those actually tend to be quite rare of Upper Paleolithic art. So the third wall we're looking at here in the real cave is located quite close to the previous wall, and it's perhaps my favourite from El Castillo. So it depicts two bison. The first is quite small here, which I'm just outlining with my torch, and it faces right. And a natural crack has been used to represent the horns of the animal here. And this same crack sort of continues into the back of a larger bison on the right, which has quite an unusual geometric head, again facing right here, and also uses natural undulations in the surface of the wall to again bring that depth and dimension to the depiction. And if we sort of move to the right, you might be able to appreciate how this depiction wraps around the shape of the natural rock. So this use of natural features is something I'm really interested in. And the final wall I want to show you, which we're approaching now, is a little different and is in an area of the cave with a really low ceiling, which you might be able to just see here. So on a small overhang that we're approaching, we have two small depictions again. One is the forequarters of a horse, depicted in using a yellow ochre pigment. And then above it, we have another female deer depicted using red ochre. And these kind of frame the back wall, which has a depiction of quite a complete horse at the very bottom here, which is depicted using red ochre. And it appears to be grazing, its head's quite low to the ground. And this attention to animal behaviours is quite characteristic of Upper Paleolithic art, sort of reflecting the intimate relationship between Paleolithic people and the animals they depended on for their survival. And above it is this unusual sort of red ladder sign. It's an abstract sign, which is quite common to northern Spain, but these sort of ladder symbols tend not to feature in caves elsewhere. So it might be a sign that reflects a regionally distinct identity, for example. And that's it for this quick postcard from a virtual Paleolithic cave in northern Spain. I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you for watching.